representative to do anything. They must use the local people so that the people get information, and those that are involved also get financial income. So that's what we do to every region, including Zambezi.
Now, of course, it is a long weekend. Maybe we're working tomorrow. We're not sure. We'll have to find out. But with the two organizations, what initiatives do you have in place to further educate the nation on road safety, not just Zambezi, but the entire nation?
Okay, as I stated earlier, beyond the teams that are based currently here in the Zambezi region, we also have teams in the two Kavango regions as well as in the Ohangwena region currently. But obviously this long weekend naturally goes and falls into the next one, which will be the Easter break, which is the one where everyone is traveling. And we ensure that with the hotspots, if you would, where crashes were high last year, we ensure that there is high visibility in those regions. We ensure that when our teams go out, be it at roadblocks or speed traps, we're ensuring compliance with road safety. And we always make sure that visibility is there. When you encounter people at service stations, you educate them on the do's and don'ts, on the MVA accident response number, for instance, as well. That is critical information to take note of. So our visibility is not just now when we have the independence celebrations, but throughout the year. It is a target for us that we ensure that road crashes, fatalities, injuries all come down.
Yes, for NRSA, we are here now for independence in Zambezi, and we'll also be joining the team of MVA in Kavango East and West. And then, however, for the Easter, there will be two teams. One will go to Chiwarongo, and the other one will go to the north, where we are able to carry the information about pedestrian safety, speeding, driving under the influence of alcohol, educating the public on tire safety, the use of seat belts, and also we are not only doing it on roadblocks. This year we want to be effective and also meet people where they are. Most of the people that are involved into this are not always on the roadblock. Some don't even travel out of the town or the region. So we are using service station, shopping malls to meet the people where they are and give them this information. And also, should there be chance given to us, we also want to do scholar patrol, where we meet the people at schools and give them this information about road safety.
Now, of course, you mentioning scholar patrols. Do you have such initiatives with local schools in the region?
Yes, I should say people are not fully informed regarding this, that they are materials and they are institutions like us, the National Road Safety Council, where we have representatives and department on scholar patrol. So then there are some schools that have applied because they know where to get this information, both the jacket, the cap, and certificates after the learners are done. But there are those who do not know that the scholar patrols are done within local, that the traffic trains these young people that be doing the crossing, and also then the NRC comes in survey of the place and putting signs and then equipping those that are to do those, the scholar patrol, with information and with materials that are of visibility. So we have materials, we have initiatives in place. It's just the applications of schools that we are encouraging, that let the principals and directors and the school management get involved first from the local authority by summoning the traffic to do the training, then summoning us to do the equipping.
Perhaps just to add on that, with the teams that are currently in the Kavango West and East regions, they are also conducting defensive driving for the public transport drivers and operators in that specific region. This is something we have also done in the Zambezi region. And this initiative is something that we do in the sense that accidents sometimes are always prevalent. So it's important to equip especially the public transport operators who are always transporting individuals, to equip them with this knowledge and skill of defensive driving to assist them in better avoiding accidents. Because public transportation is one of those instances where one crash occurs, but because that vehicle was carrying 10 to 16 people, the number of injuries and fatalities is a lot more compared to a single occupant private vehicle. So that's why we do such initiatives as well. It is currently being done in the Kavango regions, and obviously we also try to have it all across the country wherever we have engagements on road safety.
Now, of course, on defensive driving, the training, more men than women were interested in the Zambezi region. How has the response been in the Kavango regions with regards to women taking part?
Unfortunately, the participation has still been a bit lopsided towards more men, but it is something that we always encourage to have more women, because all of us are on the road, regardless whether you're a man or a woman, and it's important that you encourage such initiatives. The MVA and other stakeholders, including NCRSC, the AA of Namibia and so on, usually towards the end of the year has a conference, the Women in Road Safety Conference, where we encourage women from all these regions to participate in such initiatives, because it is quite important to be equipped with such skills.
Any last words from you? Of course, Moses, you will be out there, but Jethro, are you here with us the rest of the day?
We are Siamese twins, if you would. Where you see Moses, you will see me. We will be running around together. In terms of last words, I would encourage the public to ensure that they save our toll-free number. That is 9682. 9682, that is the MVA's emergency response number. Wherever an accident occurs, you call this number. Our call center immediately dispatches the closest police members, the closest ambulance members, and obviously this is also available on the MVA app. Using or downloading the MVA app ensures that you are able to access your location where the accident occurs, because location of accidents is always quite important in terms of having a response team come out on time and identify the crash victim. So in a nutshell, that is what I would say, that memorize that number, 9682, in terms of any road crash that occurs. Once you have that number, it definitely saves lives.
From the NRC side, would want to tell the public the same information. I think this is a bigger platform, that speeding kills. So we have heard people asking now if it is, we should not speed, what about the other numbers after the 120? We always say they kills. Those numbers kills. So we don't want someone coming or that has been here to be part of the statistics. Be part of the people that are going to celebrate the next independence again. So the initiative begins with us as individuals to know that my life is mine, and also the other person's life is theirs. So I should respect both mine and the other persons that we are sharing the road with. Let's share the road with patience. Let's share the road with respect that we have drivers, pedestrians, and everyone, cyclists using the road. So we are to be patient, driving safely, and especially Zambezi, we hear my brethren here are fine when it comes to drinking. So we don't want them to drink and drive. So we would want everyone after, especially we want to have a free, independence, accident-free day in Zambezi. So wherever we will see space, we'll sit down and educate the public. But overall, let's just love ourselves and love the other member of the public. Let's not be the statistics. But we are within the region and also other regions to give the same information about speeding, pedestrian driving, and all that pertains to road safety.
Sorry, Julia, just a very last one. Just as Moses was talking, he reminded me in terms of a crash-free Independence and Easter weekend. What stats show us from last year is that there were 35 crashes over the Easter period for the 2 consecutive years, the past 2 years. And what we observed from these stats is that the Zambezi region recorded 0 incidents of crashes over Easter. So this is encouragement to the rest of the country, not only the Zambezi region, that it is indeed possible. 0 crashes over Independence, 0 crashes over Easter. Thank you.
Thank you to the both of you for your time, and happy Independence.
Independence.
Now, of course, that was Jethro Kwenani, Corporate Communications Officer for the MVA, and Moses Ngongo from the National Road Safety Council. We'll be back after the break.
What has kept Namibia united is its rich history. You know, for us to know where we are going, we have to appreciate our history. Namibia has the history of apartheid. Namibia has the history of colonialism, racism. And we know that there are those who went before us, whose blood waters our freedom. The moment you understand that chronology, and I think our forefathers have done well in ensuring that Namibians understand that history and where we are today. In valuing that and appreciating that, I think it contributes to the peace that we have. Namibia is one of the countries that's quite diverse, and our leaders have ensured that this diversity is celebrated and that there's inclusivity. When it comes, and if we have to look back to those who fought for our freedom, it was Namibians from diverse backgrounds. And if you understand that, there's the saying that goes that for you to know where you're going, you have to understand where you're coming from. And I think Namibians truly value our historical background, and they are hopeful for what the future holds. And that has kept us together. And we have valued the peace in our country. We have valued the democracy in our country. We respect the rule of law and also prosperity for all, or respecting our differences in this unity that we are actually calling for from everyone. I think looking back, they say that Namibia is still quite a young nation, but there's quite a lot to cry home about. There's quite a lot that we have achieved. I want to think and believe that it's not easy coming from the control of colonialism, restoring the damages that apartheid brought to this country. But now we are actually looking at a Namibia that has built quite a lot in terms of governance, we look at infrastructure, we look at various sectors, be it our mining sector, our agriculture sector, the health sector and education sector. I wanted to highlight specifically visible progress where we're coming from. If you look at maternal and infant mortality, how as a country we've come so far. The years of malaria, the years of HIV/AIDS, and how today we are much better off, or we are doing so much better than quite a lot of countries. Water and sanitation, there has been visible steps by our government in the reduction of poverty, the reduction of inequality. And then if we look at governance, we look at our parliament, the inclusion of women in leadership, in political leadership structures, but also if we look at other enterprises, public enterprises and private enterprises, we look at the banking sector in our country where there's inclusion of women in leadership, but also they've created systems that give access to our people. And I wanted to stress the issue of diversity. We will not win in all areas, but definitely we can see that there's visible movement, positive movement towards that direction. But what should we do to maintain that? I think it goes without saying that it's for each Namibian, for each individual to recognize the role that they play. I think it's very easy for us to say government should do this, government should do that, this institution should do that. But when we stand together as a nation and we all realize the small part that we have to play, both at individual level, but as well as institutional levels, we are able to sustain the investments that have been made into building the Namibia that we see today, be it industrialization. We are able to sustain that if we each bring our part. I guess it's really, my call to the Namibian people is for us to pause and reflect. Recent events in the country have showed and have proven that Namibia is indeed a democratic country. The way that everybody just came out, the way that the country behaved in the transition with the loss of our former president and ushering in the new president, the way it was done, quite an example for the rest of the world out there. So as we celebrate our 34th independence celebrations or anniversary, I think let's stop and reflect how far we have come. It's quite easy to point out what's not working, but there's quite a lot that is working. And Namibia is currently poised as the breadbasket, to become the breadbasket of Africa. With the recent discoveries in oil, a lot of work is going into green hydrogen, green energy. It's for us to reflect, what role are we going to play to ensure that one day we can actually get to industrialize Namibia as we dream of it. And also as we are moving into the celebratory preparations, as we are traveling towards the dedicated region or venue for the celebrations, I wanted to implore on all Namibians and invite those that can to really put in an effort to attend the celebrations. It's something meaningful for every Namibian, whether they're in country or in the diaspora. It's a time for us to celebrate how far we have come, also celebrate the challenges that we have overcome, and that today we still have such a peaceful nation. It's a time when a lot of people will be traveling to the dedicated area, which is the Zambezi region. From the Motor Vehicle Accident Fund, we want everyone to observe the road rules and regulations so that we are safe. And in case of a crash, call the number 9682 for emergency. My Namibia, my country, my pride.
It is Thursday, the 21st day of March 2024. We're coming to you live from the Katima Mulilo Sport Complex, where the Independence Day is being commemorated for the first time since the country attained independence back in 1990. Although the atmosphere certainly is festive as more people are flocking to the stadium, there certainly is also a solemn element to this day, and we understand the context, and we also hold space for everything that unfolds in the manner that it does on this day. Now, as the world shifts its gaze towards this dynamic corner of the land of the brave, the emergence of upcoming artists in the great Zambezi takes center stage, signaling, amongst others, a profound and transformative cultural resonance. Now, Bella Makaso is one such upcoming artist. He now joins us in our studio here at the Sport Complex to tell us about who he is, but also to talk to us about which genre he is occupied with. Good morning, sir, and welcome to Good Morning Namibia.
Morning. Good morning, Namibia.
How are you doing on this gift of a Thursday morning?
I'm doing great. Having a good morning. And it's your boy Bella Makaso, El Presidente, as introduced.
Just make sure that they can hear your boy by keeping the microphone close
okay,
to where you're speaking from.
This is your boy Bella Makaso, El Presidente Vakamba. You already know what time it is. Representing K to the M, Katima Mulilo.
And what time is it? For those who may not be in the know.
This is somewhere around 8 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
What does that signify for you?
As I always emphasize, I like starting early in the morning. So Good Morning Namibia is, it's a signal for people out there to be waking up early.
That's when you seize the
early
day.
Birds catches the worm.
That's when you seize the day. That's when you seize the day.
True.
For those not familiar with who you are, for those wanting to get to know your boy as you refer to yourself, tell us more about yourself, please.
I'm an artist, as said. And when I say artist, I don't only sing. I can rap, I can produce, I can paint, I can write stories, I can do a lot of art.
Multifaceted.
Yeah, I can act, I can do almost everything. So whatever has to do with art, I'm almost into everything. And I started this journey at a very young age. I was just somewhere in grade 3, grade 4 there. When I started my journey, I started drawing, started dancing for artists who were actually having their own music. So
while you were a little boy?
While I was a little boy, yes. They used to take me to their shows. They were the big guys at the school, grade 3. The guy maybe is in grade 7, somewhere there. He's having some songs. We go dance for him.
I was going to ask, is that not child labor? But if you were in grade 3 and the other person was grade 7, you were both children, so it couldn't have been child labor.
Yeah.
You were employing one another.
We were all not getting paid at the end of the day.
Very well.
So we're just doing it for the passion and the love. Because from that young age, we used to watch other music videos. We used to have cassettes at home. You watch the likes of Kofi Olomide, you see how they dance, you see how they are doing their things, then you get inspired.
When did you realize that you have talent? Did you have caregivers, guardians, parents, grandparents perhaps, who told you, wait a minute, this boy has some talent?
I realized I had talent somewhere when I was in grade 9. All along, it was just doing it. I don't have any direction like this. I can really do this like something I can do like tangible.
Fair enough. But when you were in grade 3, you were still very young.
Yeah, I was very young.
Who or what would you say was the main inspiration, the main motivation behind all of these multifaceted art disciplines?
I guess I was exposed to a lot of things at that young age. So I could watch TV, I could see people dance, I could see people draw. So everything I saw or everything I was exposed to, I tried to do also. So at the end of the day, I started getting good in other things, like singing. Actually, my teacher paid for my first song in grade 9. I didn't pay for it. he had to force me to go record the song at the studio because as I was doing all that, I just didn't have confidence that I can really be an artist. I can really draw and sell a picture to someone.
So you recorded your first song in grade 9 and your
Yes.
teacher paid for it.
Yes.
Tell us about that song.
Actually, what happened is that group I used to dance for.
You must just remember, Bella, the viewers need to hear you. So you need to speak into the microphone, please.
That group I used to dance for, we started having misunderstandings because I started finding out they were getting paid, but they were not giving me anything. So my teacher gave me an eye-opener, like, no, stop doing it for other people. Do this for you. I told him, no, I don't have money. There's no one who can support me to go. I don't even know where to get a studio. Then he gave me $150. A studio session that time was $70. So the other
You still
was
had change?
Yeah. So the other was for my transport and everything. So even the first song I did was, and it's titled Forever. I'm going to live forever. That was like a statement I was making. That no matter what will come in future, my art will be there forever. So my first song was Forever.
Powerful. As
you.
far as your music is concerned, do you focus on a particular genre or do you also decide to wear multiple hats in that space?
I've tried almost all the genres, but personally I like rapping and a bit of Afropop, but mostly I mix up my rap, not in European instruments, but try to rap on African beats where there are drums. You know, even the people can dance. Here in Zambezi, we are known for our dancing, which is we use the West.
Absolutely.
We use the West. So if I put those hip-hop beats, people cannot dance. So I try to rap on the beats which my people can dance to.
You don't waste the West.
Yeah, we don't want to waste time in the West as well.
I take it for granted you're no longer in grade 9.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
How has your music evolved since then?
So far I've seen a lot of things. I've learned a lot. And like I said, for me, everything is self-taught. I had to learn how to sing on my own, how to dance on my own, how to put a song together on my own, how to try to be a manager on my own, how to market.
Is that working? To manage your own affairs?
It's not working so far. That's why...
It takes emotional maturity to admit that.
Yeah,
so well done.
Yeah, so far it's not working, so I'm looking for a lot of ways where I can boost myself as a person and as an artist, because at the end of the day, people want goods that are having value. So for me to bring out a product that has value, I have to invest in it. And if I don't have someone to invest in me, I have to do it myself. So at the end of the day, I find myself doing a lot of other jobs, you know. So yeah.
At least you are multi-talented.
Yeah, at least.
Talk to us about albums.
Albums, so far I have 3 albums. I stopped making albums, that was somewhere around 2019, 2020.
Why?
Albums, it's a lot. It's a full project, so it needs a lot. Let me say, it needs financially, it needs the whole body, where there's marketing, a manager, strategy, all of that. So for me, I find myself getting more time in the studio than time to market. Or like if I go out marketing, I don't have time with the studio or rehearsals or other things, or even work. So my time is limited. I just wished and hoped that I had other people I could work with. My job could be very easily. So I stopped making albums. I decided let me just be working on singles because they are cheaper. If I do a single, I can promote it. It doesn't need a lot of work to promote a single. So yeah, at least I can manage by dropping singles at least after some months. Once in a while I drop a music video if possible. Yeah, just like that until I reach that. Because I'm at the moment where I'm still even building my fan base. You know, both on especially on social media. These days everything is mostly about social media. The more likes you have, the more subscribers you have. So I'm building that bit by bit.
Many viewers may be wondering why, when you're so multi-talented, do you limit yourself to Katima Mulilo into the Zambezi region? Why are you not branching out elsewhere?
Okay, yeah. Actually, I've traveled a lot. So,
Where have you traveled to?
I've traveled almost the whole Namibia. I've gone to Windhoek, I've gone to the north, I've gone to Swakop, I've gone to Walvis, I've gone to Zambia, I've gone to Botswana, I've gone to Angola.
To perform?
Yes, to perform. Yeah, especially in Botswana and Zambia. These nearest places, I've always been there. So what made me try to settle in Katima is it's my hometown. So they say you have to start from where you come from. And that doesn't mean I'll be here forever though. So I just want to build my roots. Though I know I've been around for a long time, but I want to get things right so that no matter where I go, I know where I come from, I know what I'm representing. I'm not going to change to trying to fit in other trends just for me to be popular. So I have to prepare myself to the conscious level whereby even if I stay in Bendu, even if I stay in America, my music is the same, my message is the same. So yeah, plus I also have kids here, so I had to put all my affairs in order for me to pursue my talent as
That
one.
is critically important as a father and as a parent.
Yeah.
Speaking about a message, as we're wrapping up our conversation this morning, what message do you have for fellow artists here in Zambezi region, but also in the rest of the country and your fellow Namibians as we are celebrating the 34th birthday of this republic?
Yeah, the first thing every artist should know is music or anything in life doesn't come easily. You have to put in the work, which is time, confidence, and patience. You have to, don't always look on the negative side of how things are turning out. Always in the negative, try to look for the positive, the light, which can lead you somewhere. So, yeah, I've seen a lot of artists give up who I could really say if they had just tried the beat, they could make it. So, the thing about giving up is when you try to come back, it doesn't work. It doesn't work because already you are going to do something you are not doing from your heart, so you are not going to do it passionately. You are, for example, a job you are not happy about, or you are forcing yourself to be an artist because of your friend. So never give up, always be positive, spread the positive love, one love. Have the good vibe. People want to dance to good music and be entertained.
Nito Mezi for your time. May your music, may your craft, may your art grow from strength to strength. And happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day to you too.
Nito Mezi.
Nito Mezi.
Shangwe.
Shata.
There you have it, Katima Mulilo-based artist. He's not only into music, he's also into all sorts of ventures relating to painting, relating to producing, relating to singing. And he's talking to us about the life of an artist from this great region and the potential that it has. His name is Bella Makaso. Now, on Good Morning Namibia this morning, coming to you live from the Katima Mulilo Sports Stadium. We mix up arts and culture with very serious matters. So next up, we engage members of parliament on their take of the significance of this particular day. Keep it locked here on NBC One.
Celebrating independence, one Namibia, one nation. Celebrating independence, royal, one Namibia, one nation. Celebrating independence, one Namibia, one nation. Celebrating independence, royal.
Far been translated in
And we are back at the Katima Mulilo Sports Complex, where the 34th Independence Celebration of Namibia is to take place shortly, or at around 9:30. Now, the members of Parliament MPs play a pivotal role in the functioning of a democratic system worldwide, representing the voice and interest of their constituents within the legislative process. As elected officials, MPs serve as the bridge between the citizens they represent and the government, embodying the principle of democracy through their legislative responsibilities, oversight functions, and constituent services. I'm joined by two members of Parliament who are here to talk about the roles of MP. That's Dr. Aupindi and Vipakuye Muharukwa. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning, Juliet. Good morning, Toby. And happy birthday to Namibia.
Happy birthday to Namibia.
And to yourselves, all of you.
Now, let's just look at the role of members of Parliament. What is it in the interest of their constituents? What role do MPs play in the representing the interest of constituents?
Well, you want to go for that? Thank you very much. You see, Parliament, you have to go to the center. First of all, happy birthday to Namibia. 34 years of freedom, independence. It's not to be underestimated. It is a passion that so many people died for, sacrificed for us to enjoy freedom and independence and enjoy our dreams, have our dreams be relevant, and no one can ever take that away from us or demean us. But having said that, the Constitution gives the National Assembly, because we are members of the National Assembly, in Article, I think, 44, that we actually, we hold the legislative powers, the power to legislate and make laws with the assent of the president, and when necessary also with the National Council. But the most important one is 45, which says that the members of the National Assembly are the representative of the Namibian people. That's Article 45 of the Namibian Constitution, which is the supreme law, that we are the representative of the Namibian people. And in doing our jobs, we are literally guided by the objectives set out in the Constitution, by public interest, and we are guided by our own conscience to make sure that the Republic perpetuates and outlives humanity. That is what we do as lawmakers.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Muharukwa.
Yes, thank you, Juliet. Indeed, maybe as a start, one should say that We are a country that is now 34 years old, and I want to reiterate what the Honorable Opindi said, that we are standing on the shoulders of giants. We are reminded at this stage by the sacrifices that many has made to bring Namibia to where it is. So as leaders, we take our job with seriousness, and that job as members of parliament is what Honorable Opindi has said is depicted in or explained in Article 45 of our Constitution, that we must be guided by two things. Objectively, it is the interests of the Namibian people and the objectives of our Constitution, and our very own conscience. Now, as members of parliament, we are elected on a list system that comes from political parties. But the Constitution is saying to us directly as members, giving us a direction, is actually compelling us to say that once you are elected by the Namibian people, the first thing that takes precedence is the Namibian people and their interest. At this point in time, we had a country that has gone through, I suppose, 3 presidents. We are now on the 4th president. And our late president would spell out something that today when he is not there is really speaking to someone like myself. And that is the phases that we've gone through. We've gone through the phases of stabilizing the country, which was the first president's job. And his job specifically was to bring about prosperity. And he has done quite a lot in terms of trying to get through the interest in international interest in investing in Namibia. And it is now for us, an incumbent on us as Namibians, as MPs, as leaders in this country, to ensure that all those investments that are possible comes to fruition. So in a nutshell, our allegiance now, our duty now, is to make sure that the Namibian is prosperous. Prosperous using our natural resources, prosperous in ensuring that the finance and the fiscus of this country is being apportioned and appropriated appropriately to ensure that the Namibian doesn't suffer. When we have traveled, I drove, I didn't fly, throughout from Otavi right up to Zambezi. I have not seen a single successful crop. And I come here a lot because I'm married this side. So, and normally when I leave Katima at this time, going into from April to May, I expect to be getting maize, to be getting matillas and all these things. Unfortunately, where we are now, we are in drought. So our job as MPs, of course amongst many things, is to ensure that Namibians are prosperous, that we ensure that we mitigate these sort of things. I mean, we could go on and on about education and all these things, but I'm just highlighting that.
Of course, in line with what you're speaking about now, let's also stick to that. It's a country united for prosperity. I believe that is the theme for this year's independence. Let's take a look at that. As an MP, what is your general view with regards to the theme in relations to Parliament? Let's just go a little bit deeper, and maybe also Doctor can get into that as well.
Yes, you are saying the theme is uniting. A country united.
A country united
for prosperity.
Yes,
I didn't even know that. But I suppose that speaks to what I said earlier on, that indeed, we have political differences because politics is about interest. We are a beautifully diverse country, so our interest would be very much diverse. Whereas a young person would want to talk about SMEs and enhancing their SMEs, whereas a young person would want to talk about an education system that is preparing our young for the global markets, another person would want to talk about tourism. Say, for instance, a person from Zambezi would want to talk about a thriving tourism industry. Another person would want to talk about a thriving mining industry. But in negotiation, you have what we call objectives and interests. Sometimes your objective would want to be for your interest to be heard, for your interest to get the most advantage. But the reality of the matter, objective rather, but your interests, once you define what your interests are, you could actually merge and link all those interests, and each person can get a piece of the cake. It is possible for this country to unite. We don't need to disagree all the time. We are informed that we are 3,000 people. That compels Namibians to unite even more, because we do not have the manpower to be divided. We must stand together to prosper. We must stand together to ensure that the resources of this country builds a school everywhere, so that we don't have kids. When I was coming here, I was seeing kids walking for distances, especially in the Kavango region. We have enough to get that away with. And that takes Honorable Opindi, who is from the ruling party, and myself, who is from the official opposition, to unite and converge in conversation during our parliamentary sessions and outside during corridor lobbying, to say that, but actually, it doesn't harm me if we have proper structures in the Kavango region, and it doesn't harm you if we have proper structures in Omsati. So for that reason, we can agree and make sure that those things happen. So Parliament, there's quite a lot of things that happen at Parliament, quite a lot of unity that happens in Parliament that is not always seen to the eye, especially at committee stages.
I think the theme speaks directly. First of all, it is platinum. It is sentimental, because it's probably the last theme that President Hage Geingob left us with. So he has crafted a path for the future, because in the Constitution, in the recognition of the inherent dignity and the equality that is enshrined in men, the inalienable right to life, to dignity, and to human endeavor is guaranteed in the Constitution. And therefore, human right and prosperity is very much at the core of the human dispensation in Namibia. And if you look at it, for so many years during the apartheid years, many of these rights were denied to black people, black women, black men, black children, where the system said that they did not belong. But now, with the Constitution that protects human dignity and decency, it is pivotal for us to ensure that prosperity trickles down throughout all members of society. So we need to unite in that. We need unity of purpose, and we need to ensure that our country's resources are not going to be imperialized and fall into the hands of foreign, whether it's foreign multinationals or foreign corporate interest group, special interest group, an imperial colonial, which is part of the neo-colonialism. We need to ensure that as the resources are discovered, that this country is endured with natural resources, endured to it by God, that we need to ensure that policies and programs are there to ensure an ordinary man and woman in the street or a child from the village is enjoying Namibia's natural resources. And that is what the theme speaks to the center of. And Parliament, as a representative of the people, must protect that.
Now, before we wrap up, let's just take a look at, you spoke about collaboration, especially with different political parties. Now, the president of the NDP, Martin Lokato, recently spoke on drought, saying or advising that different political parties, institutions, regardless of who they may be, there needs to be a collaboration in order to address issues such as drought. What is the importance of leaving behind our personal beliefs or political belonging and just coming together and saying, we have this problem, we're going to work together regardless, and this is how we're going to solve them?
Yes. The reason why a house stands is because there are a number of materials that makes it up. The human being, your body, is comprised of various components, which is now your hands, your feet, and all these things. For the body to function normally, for a house to stand and protect you, each and every one of those components are important and need to do their job for the house or the body, whichever one you want to use proverbially, to do what it's supposed to do and to function normally. Now, the drought that we have, one thing that we really as a country need to do, and need to do yesterday, is to ensure that our coastal regions have desalination. The President has spoken about it in the State of the Nation address, but it is not enough that we just speak about it. It is for Parliament to call for it to happen as a matter of contingency. You have your Zambezi region, you have your Kavango region, you have your Kunene region, and then you have your Hangwena region that is sitting on unimaginable amounts of water in comparison to the rest of the country. We need to do something about that yesterday. It is unbecoming and irresponsible for us as leaders, to be frank, that today when other regions cannot produce crop, that Zambezi cannot feed Namibia, that Kavango cannot feed Namibia. So Lucato is right, and all the political parties should heed. Even if he is not in parliament, even if he does not command the masses, as say for instance the ruling party does, he is a part of a Namibian body, a part of a component of Namibia, and we must heed when he speaks. Parliament must heed.
All right, sorry to have to do this. We thank you so much for your time this morning, and we hope you have a very beautiful day.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your
That was Honorable Muharikwa and Honorable Aupindi joining us at the Zambezi, the Katima Mulilo Sports Complex. After the break, Denver joins us with the Minister of Information, Communication and Technology.
If I made it clear at number one, I'm 38 years old. And when you speak as a 38-year-old, you speak on behalf of, I hope, to be considered still as the youth. I'm not 40 yet and above. And when I mention that, not only from a youth perspective, but from a media house on what has been transpired, what has been captured for the past couple of years on monitoring what's been said about Namibia itself, I think as of late, especially, now that we've seen the growth in terms of where we are today, by saying that Namibia, it's a country that's unified. Yes, you will always get, those obstacles here and there. But if we compare ourselves with other countries, and as of late, when you see other countries still going through war, still trying to just fight for peace, we should be grateful for that. So standing here as a 38-year-old, having observed that, peace, unity, and may his soul still rest in peace, our belated President Hage Geingob has shown us that Namibians love to stand together in a time of need. We show that solidarity, we show that support, and when it comes to standing by each other to get that one message across, we do a very good job. I think within the past 34 years, we've been able to show what it means to be Namibian. We can't be like the rest of the world. And I think that's what makes us unique. I think that now is a time when we look at the statistics, and even in the month of March, when we celebrated the International Women's Day, so much has been done with parliamentarians, with local authorities, representation, with women empowerment, etc. We've done a lot. But again, the question still remains, there's still much more that needs to be done. When we say still what needs to be done even more, there's a lot. But at least from us, from a perspective of the media houses, we're able to speak freedom of speech. Namibia is number one on the top of the list with 34 years of independence, being able to speak out with all the different movements that are coming. Thank God we don't have a nation that, prisons people with their preference of who they are or what they are. So again, I think in a perspective of freedom of speech, where we come from, women inclusion, the youth empowerment, we've done a lot. But yes, there's a long way to go still. And when we observe our president for leaving us, there's a lot that we can learn from, pick up from, and also push forward from. A lot has been achieved. And I don't want to speak like a parliamentarian. I don't want to speak like a politician. I think from the naked eye, being able to sit in a free country. I think many times when you don't have something, you appreciate it more. But when you have freedom, when we speak about apartheid, when we speak about, everybody being able to live with one another, we don't see that as, a national treasure because we've been living with it. We've been experiencing it. So that number one is that we're still able to celebrate that everybody from all walks of life, we are still be able to, we have peace, We've got that nationhood building. And I commend the Ministry of Information and Communication Technology for driving that narrative, by My Namibia, Team Namibia, and taking out not only just with the context with where we are, but beyond the borders. Within 34 years, I think Namibia is now transforming from just being that small little country, but now we're filling up space. People now know about our country, which is brilliant. There's much more to be done, as I said before, but I think within the progress, we've seen inclusion with so many. When it comes to youth as well, the liberty with us being able to speak out, having our voices heard, I think that's very commendable with government. I think it's very commendable even with the representation, with the different, all walks of life, even those with different backgrounds, etc. But having the inclusion that nobody should feel left out.
That was renowned public relations practitioner Madame Ilka Platt with her take on the significance of the Land of the Brave turning 34 years old. We're coming to you live from the Katima Mulilo Sport Complex. The country's 34th birthday is being commemorated for the first time since we attained our independence back in 90 here in the great Zambezi region. We continue with our engagements here on your most revered breakfast show, Good Morning Namibia. Today, as we know and as we've shared, the country celebrates its 34th birthday, and the theme for this year's commemoration is a people united for prosperity. Not without significance, not without relevance, of course, a very topical matter. To reflect on the day, to reflect on the theme, to tell us what it is that we can expect this morning as we approach the formal program, we are very delighted to be joined by the Minister of Information and Communication Technology, that is Madame Emma Theophilus. Good morning, Madame, and welcome to Good Morning Namibia.
Good morning, Denver. Thank you for having me.
Happy Independence Day to you.
Happy Independence to you too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. How are you doing on this gift of a Thursday morning?
I'm doing well. I think it's a time to reflect and celebrate, and I'm happy to be here.
Let's start with your perspective on the significance of this day, please.
Well, independence in almost every democratic state is to celebrate those that have gone before us and the gift that they've given us, which is the liberty, freedom, and justice that we enjoy today. So we reflect on the heroes and heroines that have actually sacrificed not only their lives, their youth, their families to actually bring us this gift of independence, and that one we can enjoy today and revel in. So I'm very, very reflective in that and thankful for those that have gone before us.
The distinguishing feature about this year's commemoration is that for the first time, it's taking place in the great Zambezi region. Talk to us about that.
Well, I think the government in past years has tried to rotate Independence Day across the country. Although Windhoek is naturally a very common base because it is the capital city and that's where the government sits, or central government sits, but it has tried to rotate independence across the country. And in doing so, some instances it has just not come to some regions. And Zambezi region is one of those. And last year, the late President Dr. Hakaji Geingob, may so rest in peace, identified already the Zambezi region as the venue and place for us to celebrate our 34th independence anniversary. And when His Excellency Dr. Langolo Mpumba, the 4th President of the Republic of Namibia, got into office, he affirmed that decision and directed us so that for the 34th independence anniversary, we will celebrate it in Katima Mulilo in Zambezi region. So we're very happy to be here. It is the furthest, one of the furthest regions one would go, but it just demonstrates that regardless of where we are, independence has reached every single corner of Namibia and is reflective as we celebrate it today.
What I'm also inferring, in fact, what we're also experiencing collectively as Namibians is the visionary leadership of our late beloved president, having a year ago already announced that this is what we will be doing and this is what we will be hosting. So I'm sure that is something that we can also cherish, as we will cherish and commemorate his legacy forever.
Absolutely.
So what is on the cards for today?
Well, today, as we all know, we have some cultural performances. I hear them already and see them preparing and ready to entertain all of us that have come to celebrate together. Because it's important, a ceremony like this, bringing us together for one common purpose, which is just to say thank you for independence and celebrating so, is important. And then secondly, we expect, of course, a few speeches by the dignitaries in the region, as well as solidarity messages from all over the world to just congratulate us on reaching 34 years that is peaceful, that is united as a young democracy. But last, of course, but not least, is His Excellency the President, Dr. Angola Mbumba, who will be delivering the keynote address. And this will be his first independence celebration, and probably his last, because next year's one will be inaugural, to actually deliver a keynote address on the anniversary of Independence Day. So we're making history at the same time as we're celebrating our 34th independence anniversary.
A key aspect very close to your heart evidently relates to the aspect of unity. We've seen in a beautiful insert depicting your message about the glue that has kept us together for more than 3 decades is exactly that unity. Why is it so close to your heart?
Well, you know, I am a lawyer, and as a trained lawyer, you learn about legal systems all over the world. And at the same time, you learn about political systems all over the world and see that for many African countries, a few years after gaining independence, they go to civil war. Immediately, they go to civil war, they disagree, and they don't dialogue, and therefore it means their development is delayed. What we have done in this country, although as Namibians, because this is only our lived experience, we might not fully appreciate, but what we have done in this country to be 34 years old independent and not a single civil war, except of course of the 1999 treason attempts that we had, are significant, and we must be grateful because no country is able to develop when, you know, a bomb is blasted a few kilometers from your home or from your classroom. Or on your home. So I think what we have been able to do this last 34 years, we must be grateful. Any person born in 1990 is a grown-up individual, probably has their own family, has an ongoing career. And that means Namibia is starting to reach that age where it's setting a future for itself. So I'm very grateful for what we've been able to do. And therefore, unity continues to be such a big, significant pillar in actually building this Namibian house, this proverbial Namibian house our late President Dr. Hage Geingob used to talk about. So I'm grateful for that. Even though I'm younger than 34 years, I'm grateful because any person, whether young or old, when you know you live in a peaceful home, you will know. You will know. And I think we all know we live in a peaceful home. We might take it for granted sometimes, but we must continuously celebrate it. If we don't, who else will?
Absolutely. Speaking about development, Professor Kenneth Matengu, the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Namibia, is on record that's saying we have to distinguish between economic growth and economic development to actually gauge whether we are making progress as a nation in terms of the well-being of our people. But if we have regard to independence and its significance and the strides that we've made over the past 3 decades, how big a role would you say the country's independence has played in the socio-economic development of her people?
I think there's progress, and because sadly progress is slow, sometimes we don't appreciate its landmark impact on a society. And economic development or economic growth on any society underpins a person's ability to actually have dignity. And Article 8 of our Constitution says that is probably one of the most important articles of the Constitution. Somebody can have everything, but if they are not dignified as a person, are they really a person?
And what the Supreme Law says is that right shall be inviolable.
Absolutely.
Notwithstanding the circumstances prevailing at what moment, it shall be inviolable.
And inalienable.
Absolutely.
It cannot be taken away from you as a human being born. So it's really what I think would be the strides we're making every single year. We're celebrating our anniversary, that we are constantly moving towards economic growth, economic development, to ensure that the dignity of every Namibian is actually upheld, and that once everybody's dignity is upheld, I think we can truly say we're a utopia of a country on the continent and the world. But that's the hope. And that's the hope we have to continue carrying, because before independence, the dignity of especially black persons was not upheld. They were not treated like human beings. We are now treated as human beings, but we have to take a step further to ensure that as we are being treated like an equal human being, we have equal opportunities like any other citizen of this country.
Madam Minister, before we get going with the official commemoration, any final thoughts?
I would like to wish the Namibian nation a happy 34th independence anniversary. We cannot take it for granted. We must be thankful for the sacrifices of those that have come before us. We must be resolute in the hope and the work we want to put in as citizens now for economic emancipation of all Namibians. We are 3 million plus strong people, and we must use that to actually ensure that every opportunity that comes our way is utilized. So I wish all of us a happy celebration for this milestone we're able to achieve as a Namibian nation.
Madam Minister, Tapandula Unene Nitumezi, thank you for your time. Happy Independence Day to you once again.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. There you have it, the Minister of Information and Communication Technology, Madam Emma Theophilus, with a profound message on this milestone birthday of the land of the brave. Before we engage more artists from the great Zambezi region, we listen to a message of King Tidi on the significance of the 34th birthday of the land of the brave.
There's so many things that makes me proud Namibian. Number one is seeing young entrepreneurs, young people getting involved in business. That makes me proud, seeing a lot of information, being given to the young people. Yeah, there's those that are ignorant, but I see a lot of young people, getting that information and using it right, especially in the field of information technology. And the other thing also that makes me proud is freedom of speech. If you compare Namibia to other countries, you can't criticize the president. You can't criticize who's doing wrong, who's got power. But in Namibia, you've got that right. That makes me proud, and it makes us grow, because if nobody criticizes somebody that's doing wrong, I don't think there won't be any improvement. And political stability, political parties, they sit at one table and talk it out and debate it out without no danger, without no fear, without no anything. That makes me proud to say that I belong to this country. There's quite a lot of things that makes me proud to be a Namibian. I won't finish them today, but those are the ones that stand out. In any nation or in any family setup, 34 years is a lot. I don't want us to forget where we came from, the liberation struggle, and currently now it's about economy. It's about economy, fighting for everybody, just to live well, the well-being of everybody. Yeah, so also the culture, not forgetting. When I say don't forget where you come from, the culture, the struggle, the economy, where we're taking it to from now on, and I think those that came before us, unfortunately for me, I was born in exile, came here. I always tell myself, don't forget where you came from, don't forget the stability, don't forget the peace. Because you can't do anything if you don't have peace of mind. If you don't have the peace of mind, I don't think you'll do anything. Especially the youth, because everybody is more into social media. What happens on social media, they think that's how real life is. Everybody on social media, when you see somebody's doing this, and think that is a real life. The unity of special ethnic groups. I think I said about the culture. And also respecting those that came before us. Yes, we want to understand them because we came from a different, what do you call them? No, different era. We came from a different era. But we respect what they've done. One good example I will tell the youth is how the exchange of power that happened just after our president died. If it was in other countries, it could have been chaos. It could have been super chaos, parliament chaos, wars everywhere. I think those are some of the things that we shouldn't really forget. And also to the youth, don't forget to make yourself a brand.
And we are back as the world shifts in a gaze towards this dynamic corner of the continent. The emergence of upcoming artists in the Zambezi region takes center stage, signaling a profound and transformative cultural renaissance. Mostly known by her stage name, Shanice Adija, and of course, Smart Z23. Good morning and welcome.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, ma'am.
Now, of course, you are joining us at the Katima Mulilo Sports Complex where we are about to celebrate the 34th independence of Namibia. Before we get into you and your musical journey, feelings towards today. It's the first time that Zambezi is hosting.
I'm super excited for this. Super excited. This is nice. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it.
A man of few words. But just growing up and maybe attending independence celebrations at this very complex, can you just go back, and then having to host it this year?
I remember growing up, like in primary school, we used to line up. Like our teachers will put us in queues, then we walk here in our school uniforms. If we have content like cultural music, we would perform and sing.
Okay, so now when we come to that, let's get into a deeper conversation in you talking about yourself to the viewers that don't know you.
So I go by the stage name Shanice Adija. I do raga and dancehall, Afrobeat. I write any kind of music, but I only sing a few reggae, dancehall, and Afropop. Oh, my name is Mazi. I go by the name Zambezi23 on cloud.com. Yeah, I do kwaito. I do house music. Yeah, I represent Katima.
But that's a very interesting name, Smart Z23. Can you just explain to us the origin of that name? What does it mean also?
Yeah, since I was in grade 6, I loved music. So whereby I was having a lot of names. I was creating a name which can be interested to people. Whereby my first name was T-Boy. Yeah, and then I was like, T-Boy. A lot of people were like, T-Boy, 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 T-Boy. And then I changed. Like, let me just put myself Zambezi23. Yeah, that's how I became Zambezi23. Because I'm smart, I'm cute, then I'll be 23. But 23 became when I was 23 years old. Because a lot of things when I was 23 years old came. Whereby I can explain, when I start explaining here, it will be sunset.
Maybe we can just get a little bit into that.
Yeah. Okay. When I was 23 years old, I received my firstborn child. And then I released my first album. It's a lot. I will just tell you that because it's a lot.
All right.
But that's the most important things. The one I told, like my firstborn child, and then my first album.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very significant. Now, of course, Shanice, you spoke about having to celebrate independence at your school while growing up. Now, when it comes to doing music, is that something that inspired you to actually get into it professionally? Music? What made you decide to go into music? Is it related to you having to celebrate independence, doing cultural dances and music at school?
I think it's my mother's love for reggae music. She played a lot of Lucky Dube back in the days, and sometimes I would spot her writing her own songs, mostly gospel. So I think I took it from her. She inspired me a lot. Even though I remember I didn't like it when she played the Lucky all the time. But one day, boom, I'm singing to all the songs of the album.
Now, I know, of course, one of your musical influences, especially with reggae, is Vibes Cartel.
Vibes Cartel, Adidja Palma. That's where the Adidja comes from.
Now, but let's also look locally. Who are some of your musical influences? Some of your musical influences locally?
Locally, I would say Rashama, Gao Level. I forgot to mention that when I started doing music, I was mentored by Gao Level back then, in 2008, by Otea and Frida. So it's Gao Level, Rashama, Lady May, back in the days, you know.
All right, thank you guys for joining us, and I hope you have a beautiful day.
Thank you.
All right, we are still live at the Katima Mulilo Sports Complex. We'll be back after the break.
I think what has kept Namibia united is its rich history. You know, for us to know where we are going, we have to appreciate our history. Namibia has the history of apartheid. Namibia has the history of colonialism, racism. And we know that there are those who went before us, whose blood waters our freedom. The moment you understand that chronology, and I think our forefathers have done well in ensuring that Namibians understand that history and where we are today. In valuing that and appreciating that, I think it contributes to the peace that we have. Namibia is one of the countries that's quite diverse, and our leaders have ensured that this diversity is celebrated and that there's inclusivity. When it comes, and if we have to look back to those who fought for our freedom, it was Namibians from diverse backgrounds. And if you understand that, there's the saying that goes that for you to know where you're going, you have to understand where you're coming from. And I think Namibians truly value our historical background, and they are hopeful for what the future holds. And that has kept us together. And we have valued the peace in our country. We have valued the democracy in our country. We respect the rule of law and also prosperity.
Welcome back. We're approaching the end of this Thursday edition of the nation's most revered breakfast show, Good Morning Namibia. I have to state this categorically. My co-host has been absolutely phenomenal. Well done, madam. It's been such a pleasure, such a delight, such an honor to co-host the nation's most favorite breakfast show alongside you.
I'm appreciative of the person I'm hosting with.
Oh, so I can see that the stadium here at Katima Mulilo Sport Complex is already bursting at the seams with Namibians proud to celebrate their country's birthday alongside fellow Namibians. And I do know last night on the 8 o'clock news, the Executive Director in the Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, Dr. Odin Mata, told us that we are expecting about 11,000 people. I'm wondering, Juliet, whether we don't already have 11,000 people here.
I'm very curious because where are we seating them?
Some of us will have to sacrifice our seat, particularly if
Probably.
we are younger. Hopefully, if your hair is grey, you will be guaranteed a seat. And those younger than you, younger than this republic, may have to sacrifice sitting.
But have you seen, Denver, a lot of our people are actually wearing traditional attire, which is very beautiful to see.
It really shows how much we care, how much we appreciate, how much we value ourselves, but also this piece that the Minister of ICT, Emma Tifelis, just spoke about. It's such a precious commodity, and we don't realize what its impact is unless it's taken away, and then it might be too late. So this is one thing that has been key in this republic over 34 years, is the peace. Perhaps we can briefly walk our viewers through what they can expect in terms of the program for today. So it's about 9:20 now. So next up on the program is the arrival of His Worship, the Mayor of Katima Mulilo, that is John Temwa, joined by mayors of other towns.
And of course, around 9 o'clock, the Honorable Lawrence Sampofu, our regional governor, is expected to make his way here as well.
And in the vicinity of 5 minutes past the hour of 9, we'll witness the arrival of service chiefs, the arrival of veterans of the National Liberation Struggle. Also, the arrival then is expected of executive directors and Dr. George Simata, the Secretary to Cabinet.
And around 9:30 is the members of the diplomatic corps.
Followed by the arrival of members of Parliament, as well as the arrival of Honorable Sophia Shaningwa, the Secretary General of SWAPO.
Cabinet ministers are expected around 9:20 as well. And after that, we will witness a parade match, I believe.
Then, in the vicinity of 9:30, the Deputy Prime Minister, John Mutorwa, will arrive at the stadium, followed by the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Madam Loida Kasingo, as well as the arrival of the Chief Justice, His Lordship Peter Shivute, in the vicinity of 25 minutes to 10, Juliet.
And around 9:40, Honorable Lucas Sinimbo and the chairperson of the National Council is expected here.
9:45 this morning, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Namibia, that's Dr. Sarah Koengelwa Amadila, will arrive, followed by the Vice President, that is Dr. Netumbunandi Ndaitwa, and her spouse, retired Lieutenant General Ndaitwa. And at 10 o'clock this morning, the country's fourth president, His Excellency Dr. Nangolo Mbumba, will arrive at the Katima Mulilo Sports Stadium alongside Madam Siski Mbumba, the First Lady of the Republic. And I think as far as the rest of the program is concerned, Juliet, perhaps we should keep our cards close to our chest. We've covered the arrival of significant dignitaries.
Never show all your cards. You can't show all your cards at once.
You cannot. You must. Some aces must remain up your sleeve.
Of course.
Yeah. What does the rest of the day look like for you?
The rest of the day, probably, hopefully, we can get more stories from people around here. We hope you can actually talk to us, tell us how you're feeling about today, your expectations, have they met them? Also, what are you looking forward to? Maybe the band, we don't know. Have you ever...
Dilimani is ready.
I know, right?
Dilimani has been ready for a while. I'm ready for them as well.
I know.
Yeah.
And also, we will be having a 21 gun salute. Probably that has been spoken about in previous interviews as well. So maybe our viewers and listeners can also just be ready for that.
And with that, we've come to the end of this beautiful edition of the nation's most revered breakfast show. From me, Denver Kisting.
And I, Juliet Siveso.
It's bye-bye. Until
and
next
happy
time.
Independence.
Independence Day is celebrated to pay homage and tribute to our heroes and heroines for their sacrifices to attain freedom. This year's theme is A People United for Prosperity. The event is set to take place in Katima Mulilo, Zambezi Region. Watch the celebrations on all NBC platforms. NBC, it's ours.